Hello everyone, and you're very welcome to our third session for the DLR libraries, and it's health and well-being sessions. Cooking, as you know, is what I do. I'm a chef. I love eating, I love cooking, I love talking about food. And the theme of this, we've done our lovely Valentine's, which I hope you really enjoyed. Then we've done our vegetarian, and the theme for this one is spice. Not too much spice, but just a nice interesting mix of spices. So I'm going to show you a lovely monkfish curry with some chickpeas and spinach, and then some chicken satay skewers. So two very different dishes, but absolutely gorgeous. So just a little bit of housekeeping. So if you can, when you're doing your little kind of like social media, if you can use the hashtag, so inspired by DLR libraries, for a chance to win my latest book, and this is Learn to Cook with Nevin. So it is. So please, if you could do that, that would be fantastic. So I'll just repeat that just at the very end. So we're going to start off by doing our curry. It's very simple. I have one onion, which is just finely chopped, okay, one small onion, some root ginger peeled, and a good tip for peeling the root ginger is just use a spoon and you just remove the skin, and then a couple of cloves of garlic. So I'm going to use my garlic crusher for this, and then we're going to put in some sweet potatoes. Now, sweet potatoes is something you either like or maybe you don't like, but I really like them in this, and you can use butternut squash or pumpkin. Actually, cauliflower is delicious in this. So I'm going to use my skillet pan. We're going to heat it up, and we're going to put a good splash of oil. So I'm using some rapeseed oil. It's one of my favorite oils to use. Okay, so let's get our sweet potato. I've just peeled it with a potato peeler, and I'm going to cut it into bite-size kind of wee chunks. So this is a great curry. It keeps really well. You can serve it with chicken, you can serve it with vegetables, but we're going to put some beautiful monkfish into it, which I really like. And you can add prawns if you want to. I'm just leaving it with the monkfish, which is gorgeous. So just cut this into nice little cubes. So that's one sweet potato there. All right. Now we're going to crush our garlic. So we peel the garlic, and just using the garlic crusher, you're just going to literally crush it over and back like that. So if we do about 2 or 3, I'm going to use 3 cloves of garlic. You can never have enough garlic. So the pan is nice and hot. I'll turn down the heat. We're going to put in 1 onion, which is just finely diced. Sprinkle that in there. And I'm just going to use my spoon here and give that a little stir. And then I'm going to bring over the board, and we're going to literally put, first of all, our sweet potato. That's 1 sweet potato I'm using. I'm only making a small amount of the curry, but of course you can make extra. And we're going to scoop in our lovely, delicious garlic. So plenty of that garlic. Okay, for our ginger, we'll grate that and just use this here. So you peel the ginger, you just grate it, and just watch the fingers when you're doing this. I love ginger. Ginger's so good for you. So if you grate it, you can have it wrapped in cling film, and you can freeze it, and then take it out of the freezer, and don't forget to remove the cling film. So lots of lovely root ginger. Watch the fingers when you're doing this. And actually, a good tip for you too is when you're doing it, you can actually put this onto the base or onto the saucepan and grate it like that. Now, that's lovely. Okay, so let's just let that cook for a minute or two. It's looking good. While that's on, we're going to start our rice. So some water, roughly about half a teaspoonful of salt, and then we're going to put in half a vegetable stock cube into this. Now we're using basmati rice, so we need to season the water, which we've done. You just get a whisk, and then you're just going to literally combine or just dissolve the stock cube in here. Okay, so let's turn this up. So you're kind of seasoning the water. You can add a little bit of butter if you want to. Just make sure you dissolve the stock. You can have a look in here, Mella. Thank you very much. So you're just going to bring this back to the boil. So just using a whisk. In goes the rice, basmati rice I like for this. And then you give it a really good whisk. And we'll put the lid on this. So I'm going to show you the technique of kind of like having lovely fluffy steamy rice, which is gorgeous. The lid's going to go onto that. So half a stock cube is absolutely fine for this. A little bit more oil goes in there. Now, so that's the base for the curry. Now we're going to talk about all the lovely spices. So I'm not looking for much colour. You have enough beautiful colour with the sweet potato, and you can put peppers into this, cauliflower. It works really, really well. Lots of different ingredients. Okay, so we're using some turmeric, and we're using some of this really nice mild curry powder. So both of these are produced from an Irish company called Oco. They're based in Athlone, and I think their spices are definitely some of the best you'll use. So I'm going to put in 2 teaspoonfuls of turmeric, and this is a strong turmeric. See how vibrant that is. So just put that in there, 2 heaped teaspoonfuls. And then this is that lovely mild curry powder. So if you like it nice and spicy, what I would recommend is that you can actually put in a little bit of chilli into this. So I'm going to put in 4 of the curry powder into that. So it's the mild curry powder, remember that. Now, what we need to do is to start cooking this off. So you kind of coat everything and just let that kind of coat the lovely vegetables, and it kind of dries up all that lovely moisture. Okay, now I'm just going to come back to the rice just to show you this. You whisk it so it catches at the bottom using the balloon whisk, which I'm using, and then we're going to literally cook that for about 5 minutes and switch it off. So remember, we put salt and a stock cube into it, and that works really well. Okay, we're going to put in these tomatoes, and these are the San Marzano tomatoes, reckoned to be the best tomatoes, Italian chopped tomatoes. So it's going to be a wee bit noisy. Scrape that all out, and we have a little bit of water just to rinse out. We're from Cavan, we don't like any waste, so just a little bit of water goes in there, and we're stirring this through. So this is like a coconut based curry, and it's a curry that will keep for about a week in your fridge, and then you can add in your monkfish at the end. You can add in some cooked chicken, so it's a very, very versatile, and it's not very spicy, but I think the Irish palate has got very sophisticated, and they've got used to a lot of spice, you know, with all the lovely variety of restaurants and chefs and different ingredients that we can get. So if you look at it now, just before I add the coconut milk, so that's 1 can of tomatoes, and this is a wonderful Irish company called Thai Gold. So we've been using their products, God, for well over 20 years in the restaurant, and they're based in Wexford. Their coconut milk is the best. This is their full fat coconut milk. They don't do a low fat version, thank God. And I think this is just so delicious. So I'm just going to turn down just the rice there. So you stir this through. It's really creamy, absolutely gorgeous, and it's one of my favorites. So you can see the colour from the turmeric, and there also is turmeric in the curry powder too. So you just let that just cook away for a moment. Just scrape all that out. Now, to give a little bit of sweetness and also a little bit of a kick, this is made from another Irish producer in Wexford. Wexford's the hot spot today, and this is a mango chutney. It's a spiced mango chutney. So these are lovely. Tom and Laura, they're from Wexford Preserves. They're great producers. So if we just look at that, you can see the little bit of chilli in there, the chopped mango. I'm going to put in 3 spoonfuls of this. It's a lovely, lovely chutney with a little bit of a kick. So don't be afraid to put some in there. Now at the very end, we'll talk about the monkfish, talk about the spinach, and then some chickpeas. So I'll just stir through this. So this is the base for the curry. Now I'm going to whisk my rice again, and then what we're going to do is just check it. That looks good. So just using the whisk, I find is the easiest for this. So when we're doing this, everyone, I'm going to move it over to another ring here. Just let this, you can see the lovely colour that we have there. So you have your sweet potato, see the nice chunks of sweet potato. You also have the tomato in there. And it's a really lovely curry. It's one of my favourites. And then we'll put a little squeeze of lime into it. I'll use half the lime because we're going to make a lovely satay sauce too. So we are. Now, so that's my curry on. We need to let that cook, because if I add in the monkfish doesn't take long to cook. And this is the monk tail we're using. So I thought we'd kind of keep it lovely and Irish, and you know, you could use some chicken, you can put in some raw chicken and cook it out, or you can use some cooked chicken and put that in at the very end if you want to. So the whole idea is making this lovely, lovely curry. You can put in peppers, I already said that, and cauliflower. So we'll put the lid on that. I'm going to let that just come to the boil, and I like just leaving the handle kind of like of the little spoon just on the side. So this is what monkfish looks like. It's known as anglerfish, and it's a really lovely fish. It's a prime fish, so you could say it's a little bit expensive, but it is an absolutely beautiful fish. It is a firm texture, and it's one of the nicest fishes, I honestly think, that you can eat. So what I'm going to do with the rice, everyone, I'm going to actually take it off. I'm not going to stir it. I'm going to move it here. This is a little trivet, and we're going to literally let it just finish off there. Don't even touch it, no need to touch it. So that's our curry done. Well, not done, not finished, but it's on the way. We want to show you to make a lovely satay sauce. So satay sauce, I always think of my mother. She gave me the love for food and was a fantastic mother, but she loved satay. Whenever we went to a Thai restaurant, she'd always order it. So the key ingredients, I'll just go through it over here, which are for satay, is peanut butter. So this is from an Irish company, Nutched. So they're based down in Nina, wonderful people. Some coconut milk, or you can use coconut cream, and coconut cream is sieved coconut milk, it's thicker. This is another Irish company called Full On Foods. So this is the soya and ginger dressing, and then this is the sweet chili sauce, and then lime. So it's a really simple sauce that you can make ahead. So the first thing we'll just do is just get our coconut milk in. And again, I'm using the full can. See how creamy and rich that is. There's nothing like it. And I remember Norman saying to me once, no, I asked him, you know, why don't you do low-fat coconut milk? So Norman, he owns the company. And he said, why would I bring water halfway around the world? So if you want low-fat coconut milk, you do exactly what I did. Empty it into a jug, put the same amount of cold water, and that's your low-fat coconut milk taken care of. So this is the crunchy peanut butter we're going to use in here. Okay, lovely. So scrape all that out, and then we're going to put in our soya and ginger. So I'll put in about 2 spoonfuls of each of this. So there's a nice little bit of kick, so you can see how rich this is. 1 spoonful, 2 spoonful. You don't have to be too particular. And then we'll do the same for the sweet chili sauce. So shake this, because see the way it separates, that's always a good sign. There's no xanthan gum, there's no thickeners in it. So just give it a really good shake. Now there's a bit of a kick from it. So again, this is where the spice comes in, using the sweet chili. So we put in 1 spoonful, and then the same there. I'd say you love the way I just measure everything, so perfect. So this needs to come to the boil, and then we'll whisk it all together. And just in case I forget, I'm going to have half a lime here. We're going to put into that, and then the other half is going to go into our curry. Just leave it over there. So we're just going to mix this all together. I may as well move the bigger ring just for now, and then we'll have a little look at our curry. So it's really important when you're doing this, even though I have this on a lower ring, but see the way it's simmering away, and it kind of catches there in the middle. So just be careful of that. But that is such a lovely curry. It's not going to be too spicy. Again, if you want to add in chili, you certainly can. And then you can add in lots of different kind of meats. Work really well in this. So all you got to do is just kind of mix through the peanut butter. So see the way it's kind of lumpy like that? You just got to dissolve it. And I may as well put the lime into it here. So good squeeze of the lime. I love lime, and that's a really good lime. Sometimes they're better than others certain times of the year. So there's probably no need to put salt into this, because you'll find with that soya sauce there is a certain amount of natural salt in it. So we just got to mix this. And you could put in chopped peanuts, and you could put in cashew nuts, work really well. Okay. So I'll just let that just cook away there nicely. I want to talk to you about our chicken skewers. So I am using some lovely corn-fed chicken. So I'll make a little bit of room here. So I have these marinating. So these are little bamboo sticks. So these are tiny little strips of chicken, and they're produced in Cavan. They're fed with maize, so it gives a lovely colour and flavour. And all I've done here, I just want to show you, I put in some of the rapeseed oil. I put in literally a teaspoonful of the mild curry powder, and then a splash of this soya and ginger sauce. So that's all I've done here into those lovely little strips. But I want to just show you how to get the chicken or this onto the skewer. So if you just keep it nice and flat, and then kind of just run that down. So this is a great little recipe that I'm showing you, even without the satay sauce. Like, it's gorgeous on a barbecue, it really is. Now if you can leave this in your fridge covered for a couple of hours, oh my god, the flavour is just even nicer. So they've been marinating there for about half an hour. So whenever you touch any kind of raw fish or meat or anything like that, always make sure you wash your hands. Okay, so that's our lovely chicken skewers. We're going to cook them now in a few minutes. I just want to check on my sauce, and I'm probably as well off moving it here and just getting a whisk and just mixing it. So just combining everything together. So this isn't a very heavy kind of a thick satay sauce. There's loads of different recipes. And my oldest brother, he's a great cook, Kenneth's his name, and he makes the most delicious satay sauce. He really does. And he's so particular about what goes into it. So just move this here and move this over here. Kind of play musical chairs. So every so often we're going to come back to our curry, give it a little stir. And I'm not thickening this, so say you were doing this for a group. Now what I might do is just keep the lid off it. So if you were to do this for a group, what I would do is mix a little bit of corn flour and with water, and then just add it in there. And this is better. Using the whisk, you're just mixing through that lovely crunchy peanut butter. Now you can use a smooth peanut butter, or you can use cashew nut butter, but peanut butter, and it's great to have an Irish one, an Irish producer. So it just takes a little while just to dissolve it and mix it through. You can see the nice little chunks of peanut there, which is gorgeous. So this should be lovely, sweet and sour. Sometimes if you think it's too sour, you can put in a little pinch of brown sugar. You can put in some honey if you want to. But I think there's a nice little bit of kick, because remember with the sweet chili sauce, there's sugar in it, so there is. Now, okay, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put in my monkfish into the curry. We're going to put in our chickpeas. So the chickpeas are just rinsed. They're a full can I'm using here. So they give lovely texture to the curry. So I'm just going to add in the chickpeas. And the beautiful thing about using monkfish is that it doesn't take long to cook, about maybe 8 minutes or thereabouts. So that's a full monkfish tail, and I asked our fisherman from Killybegs for a medium-sized monkfish. So I just got it trimmed, and your fishmonger will do this. You're going to stir this through. If you look at this, everyone, so you see that lovely texture. So you coat the fish with that beautiful, beautiful curry sauce. So what I like to do now, I'm going to put the lid back on it, because I want the fish, the monkfish, to poach in that. So you can put in prawns at the very end. I'm going to put in some baby spinach. I'm going to put in my lime. Better do it now in case I forget. And then we'll just finish it with herbs and salt, and that's it. So just remember, the key to this is using all those lovely ingredients, the good tomatoes, the lovely spices, and they're all produced by some fantastic Irish companies. So don't be afraid to go out and get them and support them. But the fact that the curry can be made ahead, that's what people want. They want something that's not going to take all day in the kitchen to cook. They want something simple. So what we're going to do next, everyone, we're going to start to cook our little skewers. So we already have it in oil, so there's no need to add oil. Now that's the last one I put in there, and these ones will be more flavoursome. So can you hear that nice sizzle? And these don't take long. So these are the little under fillets. They're kind of underneath the chicken breast. These are always so tender, and they're one of our favourite cuts. Now see all this lovely marinade, everyone? What we're going to do in a few minutes, we'll spoon that all over the chicken, so we will. So I may as well just get my seasoning now. A little bit of salt. So say you wanted this to come out of the fridge, take it out 20 minutes before you cook it. We'll put a little bit of salt into the satay sauce. And I'm actually really happy with this. I thought it was going to be quite runny, but it's actually reduced really, really nicely. And then our monkfish, look at the way that's slowly bubbling away, which is perfect. You don't want it to boil really, really fast. So I'm going to put in about 3 good pinches of salt into that. Now, lovely. And don't forget to keep stirring it. So obviously I'm doing 2 dishes, but normally I do either one, a curry, or else the satay. But this is to give you some lovely inspiration. Now the most important thing is when you're cooking is to taste food. It's one of my favourite things. So I just want to show you the consistency of the sauce. Thanks, Anella. So you can see the little bit of peanut there. Now chefs are used to tasting, you know, hot sauces. So when you're doing this, just blow it. I love that, and it's not too sweet. There's a nice bit of a kick to it, but that lovely sharpness, lime. Oh, that's really good. That will keep for a week in your fridge, which is fantastic. Then you just have to worry about cooking your chicken. And again, this can be served with prawns. So I'll just flip them over here, Mella. Thank you. I love the way that's kind of caramelized. And they don't take long. Now I'm going to turn down the heat, and then we're going to spoon all this lovely marinade. So mild curry powder, some of that Wicklow rapeseed oil, and then just a spoonful of the soy and ginger. So will you remember one thing, that you've had raw meat in this marinade, so you need to cook this really well. That's really important. Now you can brush it over if you wanted to, if you're doing this on a barbecue. But this is something the twins love because they can grab the little sticks. Let's have a little look at the rice here, Mella. See the way it's absorbed all that lovely stock, so it has, which is perfect. That smells good. And the rice would work really well with this or with the curry. Perfect. So I'm going to switch off the satay sauce. The chicken, I've reduced the heat. And then we're going to put in our spinach, and we're going to chop a little bit of basil just into our curry. So basil, coriander, they all work really, really well in curries. I really like basil. Some people don't like coriander. So I'm going to show you the technique of chopping. So you get all your lovely fresh herbs. I may as well take the lid off and I can just pop it in there. And again, just to recap, the beautiful thing about monkfish, it doesn't take long to cook at all. And you can see that there. See the nice chunks. It's a gorgeous fish. It definitely is one of my favourite fish. And with the curry, it works so well. You could actually get a little piece of hake and poach it in that. Cod, I don't think would work in that. Salmon, it's an oily fish, even though it's a healthy oily fish, but I don't think that would work in the curry. So I think monkfish is definitely your best option. So chopping this, look at the technique. So you rock it over and back. Watch your fingers when you're doing this. And then just getting the knife, don't let it be too small, and that goes in. So I love fresh herbs. And some people ask me, what about dried herbs? I'm not against dried herbs. I just think the fresh herbs add so much freshness and flavour, and dried herbs, they can be a little bit strong and overpowering. I'm really happy with that curry, and you can see we didn't use any flour, we didn't need to thicken it, it worked out really good. So I'll just add in the spinach in a moment. We're going to flip these over. Oh, I love the way that's caramelised. Gorgeous. Now I have turned down the heat, okay? So I've just reduced the heat. You can see that it's still cooking away there. You could grill them. And I forgot to say, if you're doing them on the barbecue, if you soak the bamboo skewers in cold water for about maybe 10-15 minutes. So bamboo is great because what it does, everyone, it keeps it really moist, and it'll absorb water, when you're soaking it. So in goes our baby spinach, and there's no need to remove these little stalks. They add lovely crunch to it. Now, lovely. So just wilting. This is what we're doing here. We're just literally pressing this down here, keeping it very, very simple. And the monkfish, you want to keep its shape, even with the monkfish, but without the monkfish, this curry will keep no problem in your fridge. And because I cut the sweet potato small, it wasn't that big, so just remember the tip: the bigger you cut the sweet potato, the longer it's going to take to cook. So I'm just going to let that just simmer away there. We're going to check in our chicken, is it cooked? And then what we're going to do is use this knife here. So just press it, and if it feels firm, or you can get the knife, and if there's any pink juices, then it needs to be cooked a little bit more. So I'm just going to use this presentation plate here. We're going to put in our satay sauce, so I'll just put this up here. You could do a little salsa if you want to. I'm not talking about the dance. So we just pour this in here, Mella. And the same for this. So you can see the nice little pieces of kind of like peanut butter. And it's the crunchy one. And that sauce keeps really good. Now, bring over your pan. And then just literally sit these, the smell of that. So just to recap, it was rapeseed oil, some mild curry powder, and some of the soya and ginger sauce. And then just to finish it with a little bit of coriander. And that's my first dish presented for you. So that's our chicken satay skewers. I think on the little sticks is lovely, but you don't have to. You can just simply pan fry them. That little marinade is so good, and that's one that everyone can just enjoy. The satay sauce can be made ahead. So the next one we're going to do is our curry. And you can see how quick it is in real time to cook something like this. As long as you have your onion chopped, you have your sweet potato peeled, that all takes a little bit of time. So the spinach is wilted, if you can see that there. Mel, let's zoom in there. We're going to bring over our rice, and then just with a fork, we're going to fluff this up here. That's lovely. So you're getting lovely flavour from the stock cube. This is kind of like a ramekin, and we're just going to literally spoon in the rice. We're getting very chefy now. I'm going to switch off my curry. So this is the basmati rice, a little bit of salt, water, stock cube. And then just get your plate and then just lift it out. So it just kind of adds to the presentation. Okay, now our curry. I just love the colour. I love the way the spinach is kind of wilted. You know, in your recipe it says some Dublin Bay prawns. You know, you don't have to use Dublin Bay prawns. We couldn't get any, and that just depends on the weather. With the monkfish, it's fab. With chicken, it's delicious. With lots of vegetables, it's gorgeous. And the key is not to overcook that monkfish. It's a meaty, firm fish. It's actually one of the best fish to start eating, I think so, because it reminds people of kind of like steak. It's kind of like a really nice kind of like texture to it. And I love the fact that the chickpeas will give lovely flavour, texture again, and they'll really add to the whole kind of taste sensation. And then a little bit of coriander. And that's two really quick, delicious recipes. That's my monkfish and chickpea curry with the basmati rice, and then our chicken skewers with the satay sauce. And back to my housekeeping again. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone in DLR Libraries for all their support. This is our third cookery demonstration, and the whole thing is health and well-being cooking sessions. That's what we've done. So they've been wonderful to work with. If you can tag, you know, in Learn to Cook with Nevin, you will be in with a chance to win this book, and I will personalize it and sign it for you. I hope you've enjoyed the videos. I hope you've got inspiration. I want to thank my wife Imelda, who does the camera work, and she will eat the chicken skewers, I'm sure, afterwards. But it's been an absolute pleasure doing these 3 sessions. We done the Valentine's one, we done the vegetarian one, and then we were kind of focusing on spicy food. That's not just using spice, just educating people about spice. So I hope you try the monkfish and chickpea curry. Remember, you can do this with some chicken or lots of other meats, and then our lovely chicken skewers with the satay sauce. So happy cooking, enjoy the cooking, enjoy getting the really good ingredients, and thank you so much for all the support. Thank you.